From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stout.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John.
ILR, Cajun Rob here hanging out with you.
Successful. I didn't laugh at you. How you are.
You're doing better. You're getting better.
I'm trying to. Hey, every day 1% better, right?
There you go, man. You're nailing it.
Well, tonight we have a special guest on. He started a company, Crush It Gel, and I first got introduced to it by one of our guests, Eddie Parker. He came up fish with me, and he put about 20 pounds in the boat in 4 hours, and we were talking back and forth, and he was showing me what he had. And I said, well, let me try to get a hold of some of that stuff. So I got some, and I used it a little bit up on my last tournament. I didn't actually tell my boater what I was putting on my power bait scent, but
it's magic. It's magic dust.
It is a little bit of crack here and there, but so let's bring on Todd Mays. He's expert in tidal water fisherman. He's from way down yonder, and him and Barking Rugers are probably neighbors. So, but we'll forget about that part and just listen to Todd talk and teach us how to do some tidal water fishing.
Absolutely.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Hello, sir.
Good evening, y'all. How y'all
Hey,
doing?
buddy. Doing good, man. How you?
Okay.
All right.
So Todd, if you don't mind starting out with like a little bit of your fishing background.
So my resume is pretty long. So, I grew up in a little small town it was Lafitte, Louisiana. My dad was a commercial fisherman, and on my dad's side, my grandpa on my mom's side was a sport fisherman. So, man, I had the best of both worlds. I learned how to find fish from my dad, right? Because, catching fish was a living. That was his living. That was how he put money, put bread on the table. And then when I went with my grandpa taught me how to catch them on a fishing pole, on a rod and reel. So, that's how I started out. I started out young in the commercial fishing industry. And then I started off young with my grandpa fishing. So, my dad taught me how to find them. My grandpa taught me how to catch them, and that's how it all started.
Got the best of both worlds there, man. Nothing wrong with that.
So, my dad taught me how to find fish and seasonal patterns, where fish were at in the wintertime, where fish at in the summertime, in the heat, where they're going, when they're going to be shallow, when they're going to be deep, about current holes, finding deep holes, in the wintertime, where they're going to be at, with finding deep holes in the winter, so that's how I got my start, and then I started fishing with my grandpa, and I learned that, I like catching them on a fishing pole a lot more than I did catching them in nets on set lines.
Yep.
So then I really got, I got into bass fishing. I got into bass fishing at a young age, and I fell in love with it,
Sure.
And now it's nothing I'd rather be doing more than bass fishing. My grandpa, he taught me about scent. And my dad also taught me about using scent, how to catch fish, with certain scents, what they attracted, which fish, Way back in the day when I was growing up, we used to be able to fish redfish, right? It was a commercial fish at one time. We used to fish redfish, speckled trout, spotted sea trout, black drum, and really that was the main three. Also, my dad was, he was a shrimper too. He shrimped during the summertime and he fished during the wintertime. So, and I did that. And like I said, I got with my grandpa and we started running bayous with my grandpa, chasing speckled trout. My grandpa was more of a saltwater fisherman though than a bass fisherman. he would fish bass sometimes, but most of the time he wanted to chase trout. But I'm like anybody else, dude. Once that bass bug bit me, that was I was like, Papa, you can have these speckled trout. I'm going to chase these green fish. So,
Right.
and I would say probably about 18 or so, I really started getting into tournament fishing. And prior to that, I don't know what y'all have down here. It was called rodeos a lot, right? When I was growing up, we have rodeos, and I'd go fish rodeos and stuff. And when it was a rodeo, it was like all species of fish. It would be, you'd have a redfish category. You'd have a speckled trout or spotted sea trout category, a flounder category. And they always had a bass category, for the freshwater fishing. There was the biggest bass, and then there was always the five fish limit. Man, I can't tell you how many times, dude, my grandma had clippings. She used to save the clippings under the newspapers while I was in them, as a kid growing up. I was always getting in them because I was always getting in there in the newspaper on it. And
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I loved it,
All right.
I don't think like I really, really got into tournament fishing though. Probably when I was, I'd say like 25, 26, when I started putting in for big tournaments, Okay. But I was like everybody else, dude. When I started putting in, when you first start fishing the big tournaments and stuff, you're getting in them. It was a learning curve, It's a huge learning curve from, just going out fishing, and then when you jump into fishing tournaments, right?
Yep.
So I got spanked quite a few times before, I started getting a hang of it.
Yeah. Barking Rugers has a statement saying you've never grown up. I don't think bass fishermen do.
Nope.
I think they mature, but they stay young. At least in their head, they do. And Andrew Pulliam says, "Hey guys, hey Andrew,
how you doing?"
So, yeah, I apologize. I just saw that come up, and Rob will be back with us here in a minute. His computer crashed, so.
And then just growing up, I just learned how to fish tidal waters. I mean, I learned, fishing tidal waters. It's challenging. Now, don't give me tidal waters are probably the most challenging areas you can fish, right? I always say when the water's falling, it can make anybody look like a pro. But when the water's coming up and it's high, that's what's going to make a fisherman, trying to catch them then. Because, man, it's not like in a reservoir. Over here, when our water gets up and it gets high, it spreads the fish out. The fish get on the banks over here. They actually get in the grass and the marsh grass and stuff. It makes it hard to catch them. So that's why we always say falling tide, is the best time. But you better learn. You got to learn how to catch them all the time, or in any condition, right? You got to be able to catch them on an incoming tide. Or you get down here, you get a strong south wind, man, the water will rise 2-3 feet.
Okay. You have a fan here, Ashley Mays, says, "That's my dad, best fisher I know."
I taught her how to fish.
There you go. Yeah, we love hearing about women fishing. Like, we dedicate our Monday show just to women. So
yeah, I've been seeing that. I've been having a lot of women on the show.
Yeah,
on here.
And there's some of our best viewed videos too. And Barking Ruger said he's about an hour away from you.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
next to the other swamp.
About an hour west of us.
Okay.
We keep trying to get together, but we haven't made it yet. But we're trying to get there, because there's some things he wants to show me, and I want him to show me about this live scope. He says he can get it to work in 3 feet of water or 2 feet of water, so I got to see it because I can't get mine to work.
Well, you might not have to after this year from all the rumblings, but anyways, we're gonna bring Rob back in.
Sorry, guys, had some technical difficulty. My computer decided to exit out for a minute.
Gotta
love it.
Hey, we were having a good show too.
Oh, dang. Okay, I'll let that back out. Oh man.
Yeah, we left off talking a little bit. He's trying to get in touch with Barking Ruger, so.
Oh yeah, he's there.
A little bit more about forward facing, and yeah, we already covered those.
Okay.
Back, brother. So
all right, got you.
Tidal water. I know for me in New York, we only have one tidal water fishery for the most part, and that's the Hudson River.
Yeah. And on what y'all the East Coast, I know they have like 2 tides or something a day, right? Is that true? I never fished that area before, but
Yes.
I've seen or heard where there's 2 tides, 2 high, 2 lows. I mean, is that true?
Yes.
Wow. Because you see, we have 2 tides here, a high and a low. That's it. And
We have 2 high and 2 low.
yeah, and if the wind's blowing 20 mile per hour wind out the south, we're not getting any low tide. It's coming up all day.
Oh yeah.
And Rick Amato, he's from Leesburg, Florida. Yeah, I asked some people where they're from.
Hey Rick, how's it going, buddy?
I don't know what's going on. We're gonna have to try to get some of these northern guys in here. I'm not pulling my weight. So, what made you decide to get into the fishing business with the Crush Gel?
Well, I was a tournament fisherman, right?
Right.
And way back in the day, I was playing around. I used to use whatever I could find. The sense they had. The main one I used to use way back in was Bang, right?
Yeah.
But it was a 1 spray, 1 cast deal. It didn't last. I used the garlic. I used the crawfish. I tried the shad, and it all worked, right? But it was like you throw out, you reel in, you spray it, throw out again, reel it in, you spray it. It gets expensive. A can of Bang, bro, is like $12 or more, and it's one cast. That's it. So over the years, man, I've been playing around with it, and trying to just come up with my own stuff. And look, it wasn't called Crush Gel. When my wife, and let's see, what was it? 2008. I won my first big tournament, right?
Cool.
It was over 160 boats. I made a run from Bayou Black. I don't know if Rob knows where that's at.
Oh yeah, I know it's that.
Arena, all the way to Lake Cotahuachi, 77 miles one way, right? And I was playing with my own stuff. It was the Bass Crack. Back then, it wasn't called Bass Crack. It was just called Tad Secret Sauce or whatever, right?
Yep.
So back then, I'd make my own little stuff. I put it on, and we would make. I made that run, and man, I got into a spot, and it was back then, dude. Cotahuachi was on fire, right?
Yep.
Everybody was catching fish. There wasn't nothing to catch 100, 150 fish in a day, right? But you had to catch big fish. There was a lot of little fish, but for some reason, the Bass Crack, I caught big fish with it, So I made that run all the way there. We had 1989. That's what we ended up with, 1989. I had
Good year.
a 6.5. All our fish, dude, it was all good fish. And then I broke off a big fish, right? And man, that's when fluorocarbon was just really starting to come out. And I think it was might have been Berkeley or one of those. I forgot which one, but man, it was pretty crappy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't even tie a knot with stuff; it would break. So I normally would use braid, but the water would, man, there was so much grass in Cotahuachi back then, the water would get crystal clear, right? And back then, I was throwing a damn wacky rig, but it was a Zoom. It was called a Zoom Z-Nail. I don't know if they don't even make that bait anymore, right?
No, they don't.
It was a watermelon red Zoom Z-Nail, and I was putting my Bass Crack stuff on it, right? It was just my secret sauce, right? We were using it back then.
Yep.
And after winning that tournament, it was like, wow, I just won a tournament. We won it, and you might have heard of it. It was the Andelsack tournament.
Yeah, yeah.
The one of the football players, he had died of cancer, right? And it was a memorial tournament for him. The Andelsack tournament, we called it. It was over 160 boats. I mean, that's when we used to get a lot of boats, for tournaments. And after that, dude, it was just the bug really bit me then, right?
Yep.
And I was fishing EFLs. I fished weekend series. Hell, hell, I had in the weekend series, I had quite a few top tens. My best was a third place finish was the best I ever had in the weekend series. It was the Bassmasters weekend series.
Yep.
Then I think the ABA took over. American
Correct.
Bass took over the weekend series, right? And even when they took over, I followed it for a while, and I still did well. You know, between that, I fished media circuit. I mean, and I fished way back then. We had open tournaments. Dude, they were everywhere. I mean, there was every weekend now, and from January all the way to June, July, man, there was an open tournament somewhere you can fish. So I had the bug, man. It bit me, and that's all I wanted to do was fish, man. I think over my career fishing, I just local stuff and the bass and the media and the BFLs and stuff. I won almost 20 grand, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
You know, I had a boat sponsor. I used to be sponsored by Blazer Boats for the longest, all the way up until 2015. Well, that's when I got divorced. So that's when everything went downhill for me, right?
Been there, brother. Been there.
We all been there, right?
Yeah.
I ended up, having marriage troubles in 2013, and I just, I saw my fishing career like, you know what, this is gonna hurt, right?
Wow.
And I got divorced pretty much in 15, and that was the end of my fishing career for a while, dude. I had to give it all up. The only thing I kept was my truck and boat, and I lost everything.
Yep. So, got a couple comments here. Barking Ruger says to Mrs. Deborah, "You got a tough job keeping him straight. We know you're the hero over there on that team."
She is. She's my hero. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Yeah. Got a couple people from Gonzales, Louisiana, and I think your wife's on social media saying, "Thank you. The struggle is real." To Barking.
Oh, hey, look, your boy Andrew's still got a bag of those.
Yeah. And Barking Ruger says, you need to ask Tad about fishing for ditch pickles with their backs out of the water.
Dang. Whew. And there's our old buddy Eddie Carper. There he is right there. There's the man right there.
Man, yep.
He's the man. He's the man who introduced me to you.
Yep. And
Ashlyn says, my dad used to have a Corvette. Was a nice car, but sold it because he'd rather fish than drive a car.
Hey, gotta sacrifice sometimes.
Yep.
Yep.
I got a Corvette now. Still, it's my boat.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
You know, I had a friend who bought a boat before he had a truck. He said, "Look, I can always find somebody to pull my boat."
That's true. If you got a boat,
yep,
you will find somebody to pull it.
See?
Like when you get a truck, then you get a bunch of people to volunteer to help move. So yeah, I know how that goes.
Yeah. I'd rather fish than be lifting stuff, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I talked to my wife about getting a boat. And I don't think that went over very well because I don't have a boat yet.
Yeah. So let me tell y'all about how Crusher Gel became, if y'all want to. So
yeah.
When I met my wife that I have now, right? So we went fishing. We was on vacation, right? And we're fishing up Northern Lake somewhere, and man, we killing them, right? I'm fishing around locals, and we're catching fish after fish after fish. Next thing you know, they got guys that are trolling around us, like they're going around and around, just looking at us to see what we're doing, And dude, I'm like, a guy says, "Man, what are y'all fishing with?" I said, "Dude, I'm throwing a Senko out there, wacky style." He said, "What color?" I said, I was throwing a black blue Senko, more of a hematoma color, we call it, right?
Yeah.
I said, "I'm black blue, we call it hematoma." So he looks in there because they ain't catching nothing, right? And he puts one on, he starts throwing out there. And dude, next thing you know, Deborah reels in one. She reels one of 6. Then she ended up catching her biggest fish was 790, right?
Yep.
And they're just like, holy crap, man, these people. And it was the gel, right?
Yep.
The only thing they didn't have They didn't have the gel. So we just fishing. And, you know, when we got back from that trip, my wife said, she said, babe, she said, why don't you try selling this? And I was like, you know, babe, I said, I fish tournaments. I said, this is my secret. This is what I use. And then she's like, and she was right. She's like, well, she says, babe, you're not fishing that many tournaments anymore. And I haven't, you know, with my job now, it's hard. I can't, you know, I work for a refinery, right? So I'm out there all the time. You know, I mean, I'm lucky to go fishing on the weekends. Things have slowed down since the economy went to crap. But before that, man, it was nothing for me to work 80, 100 hours a week. Yeah. So, and then I was like, you know what, babe? I said, you're right. I said, and she says, you know what? Because I'm looking to retire. You know, I'm looking to retire another 5, maybe 6 years. I'm going to get. So she said, you know, if it works out, you know, you may better retire soon or just be a little bit extra income coming in. So I said, all right. She said, let's just give it a try. So I said, well, I got to come up with a name. Because, you know, Tad Secret Sauce, she said, go cut it.
Yep.
Right. So I just started thinking, I said, you know, I said, when we're fishing and you throw it out there, I said, they whack it, they crush it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's it. We'll call it Crush It Gel. You know? And then I only had the bass crack. I really never had and craw crack. And then I said, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I got to start coming out with some other scents, you know, to try to compete with other people, right? Because I'm not the only one. There's other guys, people that make stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
So then I worked on and I started working and I come up with salty crack. I came out with a saltwater scent, right? Which is phenomenal. It really is on speckled trout and redfish. And then I came out with shad crack, you know, which also works great on speckled trout and redfish and bass. I mean, it's like a shad. I got a shad and a Manhattan scent together, you know.
Cool.
Pretty good. So and that's where we at now. You know, we sell some, we don't. It don't matter, right? I mean, but we just try to grow and fish. We like anybody else. We just want to fish, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Having fun, man. You're having fun, enjoying what you do, man. That's great.
Yeah.
We got our boy Corey Bourgeois. He said Tad's a great guy. His product really works. I use it all the time. Caught my personal best using it on a frog. There you go, man. Here's your testimonial right there.
You know, everybody that's tried it, we have not had one bad review. Not one.
Yep.
Matter of fact, we just had a lady contact us. For Memorial Day, we were fishing. We were out fishing speckled trout and reds. If you look on my video, I got it. It's called Fighting the Bulls because that's what we end up fighting, some bull reds, right?
Oh, man.
We're fishing speckled trout at first. And, dude, it was a bad day to fish. It was blowing really hard. The tide was probably 3 feet higher than normal, right? My cousin's like, dude, let's go because he's got a big 25-foot bay boat. So I said, let's go. We'll go try to do a video. So we're out fishing, and there's a boat on side of us, right? And we're catching trout, like we're tripling up. Me, Pete, and Deborah, we're tripling up on trout. They're not catching nothing. They're sitting around, and the guy says, hey, man, what are y'all using? I said, we're using plastics. I said, what you using? He said, we're using live shrimp. We can't get a bite. So I told him, I said, hey, man, I said, look, come on over here. I'm going to give you something.
Yep.
So I came over, and I threw a sample tube of the shad crack, the Manhattan crack I got. I said, try this. I said, put this on your plastics. I said, this is what we're using. So they get out there, and they started catching a few fish. This was Memorial Day, right? Well, I didn't have a card or anything, right? Didn't give him a business card. The lady called yesterday. She called one of the stores, finally found a store, got our phone number, and called us yesterday. And she says, I've been trying to get in touch with y'all since ever you gave us this stuff. She said, we couldn't believe how great it worked. It was phenomenal. She says, and I wanted to buy straight from you. I wanted you to get it. I just wanted to tell y'all how great your product was. And I was like, crap. So she like bought 10 tubes.
Nice.
That's a believer right there.
Yeah, she bought 10 tubes of it. She bought 5 salty crack and 5 shad, the Manhattan, the shad crack, right? One. So
Man,
everybody that buys it or gets it, we just get good reviews. After good reviews, I mean, I haven't had a bad one yet. So, and look, I'm not going to sell something that I don't believe in myself, right?
right.
So,
Tenure.
And that
Go ahead. Mr. Tad has been teaching me so much. Great guy. I take heed to everything he tells me and thankful for his help.
awesome.
That's what it's about, you know.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to help out some other guys that are a little younger than me. I still want to fish tournaments, y'all. I'm 53 now, though, right? So I know, it's my mind says I want to do things. Body,
Yeah.
I had three shoulder surgeries on my right shoulder, so
Ooh.
it's kind of rough on me.
Oh yeah.
But now I try to fish to my younger guys that I'm working with, and I'm helping these guys out, and I'm trying to teach them and show them things and let them fish the tournaments, and I kind of fish through them now.
There you
I
go.
understand. Nothing wrong with that, man.
Eddie Carper, we want you to be successful. Crush a Gel helps us get there. Now, I was going to offer you to come up to New York. We've had this discussion a little bit.
Yeah.
You'd always come over to my place, teach me how to fish.
I'm dying, dude. That's coming up there and fishing is a bucket list, right?
Oh yeah.
I've caught my first smallmouth this past April, up on a Gunnersville. I caught one, right? And it wasn't a big one, but you know what? I was more excited catching a 1.5 pound smallmouth than I was catching a 7-pound bass, largemouth.
They don't give up. They're like a redfish, man. They don't give up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what people ask me. Say, man, what's it like catching a redfish? I said, take your line, tie it on the back of a dump truck, and let it take off.
And it's gone.
It's gone. I said, you don't even have to set the hook, dude. They just hit it. You just got to hang on, right? They're going.
I remember it was like, I want to say about 25 years ago now. I went on a redfish charter down in Florida. That was the most fun I had. I asked the guy, I said, look, what's it like? He said, well, you take a smallmouth, multiply it by 10, then add steroids to it.
That's pretty accurate.
And Florida don't even have half the redfish we have.
No.
Me and Devin went fishing in 4 hours. We caught 161 redfish.
Wow.
4 hours. And we were bass fishing.
Oh yeah.
See, this guy used to fish redfish tournaments, so we weren't looking for quantity. We were looking at quality too. And I didn't care. I was just wasting 4 hours, which ended up, he's like, hey, you want to stay out? I'm like, sure. I ended up staying up for 8 hours and paying for 4. And Gary Von Aspern says, don't forget your brother-in-law.
I never forget you, Gary.
So Ashlyn May says, I'll never forget my first time catching a redfish. She was like 8. Dad turned around for a second and the thing was about to pull me overboard.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That people don't realize that brackish water down there. My grandpa and me used to go around Bay St. Louis and fish Jordan River. And one catch, you catch a redfish. Next cast, you catch a bass. That was a blast.
Yeah, it's like down here. So normally start in September, October, November. We'll be catching bass, redfish, and speckled trout. The same spot on the same lure. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, it is.
Because once starts cooling down, the trout start moving in, and man, it's like a bat. You throw out same lure, dude. You catch a bass, throw out again. Next thing you got a redfish. Then I got a speckled trout, and then you might even catch a flounder.
Yep.
It's the fishing. Let me just tell you this, Rob. It's not as good as it used to be, though.
I know. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, Louisiana's in trouble right now. Bad.
Yeah.
So not only is our freshwater fish species are hurting now, but our saltwater fisheries are hurting too. Because what's happening is we're losing so much right now, so much habitat, right?
Right.
You know, the grass, we're losing a lot of grass now, right? Well, the hydrilla, the coontail, and all that, it supports not just freshwater fish. It supports the saltwater fish when they're little, when they move in, right? And they spawn,
Oh, yeah.
and that's where they all go at. Well, man, most of our grass has been wiped out, man. Like
Wow.
all of last year from the drought, well, we had Ida, then we had the drought. It pretty much all the grass is gone. There's just a few places. The only place we got a little bit of grass now seems like it's in Lake Cotawachi because we do have the freshwater diversion from the river coming through there.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of helping that place. And here where I live at Matthews, you know, we got Lake Long and Lake Fields area where we have Bayou Lafourche comes through, which goes all the way to the river. So that's river water coming through this area helping it. But other than that, man, like my hometown, Lafitte, the Penn, all that area, man, it's you can't find any grass anywhere. So
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they keep saying, you know, recently they knocked the limit down on a trout, they knocked the limit down on a redfish, and it's not from overfishing. It's because of the habitat. We just losing so much habitat, and something has to be done. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Man, that's crazy. That's a bad run, man. I mean, just back to back. I mean,
we got to do something. And it's diversions. That's the only thing that's going to help. But we got a lot of people fighting against putting. I don't know why, but we got a lot of people down here fighting against them putting freshwater diversions in. But that's the only thing that's going to help.
Yeah, there back in the 80s, Pearl River, they had the East Pearl and the West Pearl, and that's fighting it back then in the 80s. I'm like, why? I'm like you. Why? I don't get it.
Yeah. Something's got to be done. Or, you know, where I live at, Lafitte, it's all going to be gone. It's all going to become golf if we don't do something here soon. And we're going to lose some really, really good fishing. And
absolutely.
Freshwater and saltwater fishing. It's going to be gone.
Eddie Carper says, let's plan out a group trip next spring. Have a little friendly competition and a low country boil.
Nah, that's what I'm talking about.
So y'all ever been to Gunnersville?
I have. And he has. He didn't enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah, we heading to Gunnersville in April for 2 weeks, man. That's
okay.
Yeah. I plan on moving there. That's where I'm gonna retire at.
You need to come up further, man.
Further? It's too cold.
Yeah, New York.
He don't want no snow. He don't want no snow and ice.
No. Hey, this coon ass, bro. 70 degrees.
Hey, you want to hear something funny? Rob had more snow in Kentucky than I had last year in New York.
Oh, yeah. And then my son in Knoxville had more snow than I did. So, go figure. It's crazy.
They deserve it. But if you had 3 tips for this guy for me to go fish tidal water, what would they be?
Let's see. Depends on time of year, right? That's key. So in the wintertime, let me tell you, when it's cold, then you can pretty much take the tide out of the picture, right?
Okay.
So most of the time when it's cold down here, we done had a bunch of fronts come through, right? So we already at low water conditions, right? So I don't even worry about the tide in the wintertime, in the winter months. Starting January, February, March, I'm not worried about tide then, because at that time, most of your bass are moved into the canals, right? So January, February, they're going to chase the shad, right? So the colder it gets, they're going to go. They don't want current at all, right? So they head to the dead end canals. The less current, warmer the water, right? If you got moving water, then that water gets cold. It stays cold, it won't warm as fast. So water that stands still warms up faster. So you chase them, you go find your places where there's no current. In the summertime, current.
Yep.
You're looking for current and you want grass, right? My theory, dude, down here in tidal areas, no grass, no bass. And I'm telling you right now, I live by that.
Oh, yeah.
No grass, no bass. So I look for, like in the tidal areas, points. Same thing. The water moves around a point, just like in a main lake, right? Like y'all fishing, y'all got lakes. So our points are different. You know, some of you, we have some lakes that have points on them, but most of the time we'll find like you got a lake and then there's a canal going into that lake. So we look at that canal. That's 2 points right there, right? Where the canal's the lake, and then you got a canal. That's a point there, and that's a point there. And there's that water flowing. You coming in the canal or coming out the canal. So you fish there. And I'm going to tell you another thing. Grass beds, okay? Yep. Not every grass bed, not all grass beds are equal. So you'll have a grass bed. If you just got a regular round grass bed, you're going to catch some fish around it, all right? But if you find grass beds that actually have grass points, okay?
Yep.
You fish that grass point just like you're fishing a point on land, right? Yeah. It's the same principle. You got that grass point comes out, it's a big point, and you got water that's still going to move and flow around that grass point, right? And that's where you're going to target your biggest bass are going to be caught there. And that's how I live by that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense.
And holes, you know, we don't have deep water here, right? We really don't. We got an average of 4 to 5 feet, you know, and that's our lakes. You know, we may have some lakes might run 5, 6 feet, you know, but if you start getting closer to shore, it's going to come up, right? You're in 3 feet. Some days I'm in 2 feet of water, right? But every now and then, man, you might find a hole, you know, that's got 8 feet of water. I was in Bayou Black one year, and I can't tell you how many times I passed this spot up. And the reason why I found it was because the new boat I had, I just had forward-facing sonar, and I was in Lake Hackberry. And I passed the spot up freaking gazillion times. And because it was a cut in a bank, it was a cut and it went into a pond, right? Big pond. So I always went up to the pond by the cut, and I fished the drain itself going into the pond, and it had a couple of corners on it I would fish.
Yeah.
So one day I was going in to go fish it, but I stopped further out and I put the trolling motor down, right? And I'm trolling in, and all of a sudden it just dropped down to 8 feet of water. Woman, I'm looking at it, and what did I see? Structure down on the bottom of some stumps. And I'm like, dude, I'm like 25 yards off the bank, and I'm like, holy crap, look at this. I've been passing this up. And dude, my live school, it was one of the best times I ever had with live. It just lit up, man. I was like, holy crap. Me and Deborah stopped. I put the power poles down. It was just deep enough, dude, for my power poles to hold this in place, you know?
Yep.
I caught about 18 pounds right there and 6 casts.
Wow.
You know, just threw it out there. I was throwing a wacky rig. I would throw it out, let it fall down, you know? And when I throw a wacky rig, I don't throw it like anybody else. So most people throw a wacky rig, they're using a hook, no weight or nothing like that. I look for like the VMC hooks.
Yeah.
Gonzo hook, the weighted hooks with the little jig head on them, you know, 3/32 up to 1/8 ounce, you know, a 16th ounce, right? I throw it up there. I'm power fishing mainly because, you know, you throw that racket rig up there, that worm, without a weight on it, it just sits there, it falls down real slow, right? Well, what's the fish got? He can sit there and he's thinking, do I want that? Nah, I don't want it, right? But if you got a weight on it, you flip it out there and it's falling faster, right? And he's like, oh, wait, yeah, wow, I want it. Boom, and he's got to go get it, right?
Oh, yeah.
There, man, and we just destroyed them. We must have caught 60 fish on that one little spot. And we went back there over and over again and just, that was in 2021, 22, we caught them that year when I first bought the boat I got right now. And, dude, it was like, I can't believe I've been passing that spot up. I found it because of the live school.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. That's amazing technology.
Yeah. And summertime, it's drains, right?
Yeah.
If you wherever you're going and the water's falling, and if you're in a lake and we call them a drain or a little trenage or
slaw. We used to call them sloughs or slaws. Yep.
Yeah. If they got water coming out of a slough, I'm gonna tell you right now, you better stop because they're gonna be fish there.
Yep.
Well, they might not be in that one, but if you find 3 or 4 of them and you hit them, I promise one of those are gonna be stacked with fish.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like a buffet, they're washing crickets and worms. I mean, they're just sitting there, bluegill popping, and they're popping the bluegill. So
when fall comes, and when you start get those first fronts, where you start getting that north wind blowing, and that north wind starts blowing that water out them sloughs, you better be on them because they're gonna be stacked with fish. I mean, you have the best trips ever in the fall when you first start getting those first few northers coming through in the north wind. It starts pushing that water out. Oh my God, I'm telling you, man. You find every slough you can find because it's going to be stacked with fish.
Absolutely.
Dad, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at your daughter. She says you can't stick a Cajun man in New York.
But he can visit, though. He can visit.
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell you how many trips we've had where I've caught over 100 bass. I can't even count, right? I mean, I've been to Venice before, and man, Venice used to be on fire. Like right now, this time of the year, going all the way to November, you better go down there with 30, 40 packs of Speed Cross because you're going to use every single one of them.
Yep.
That's another place, bro. I mean, John, if you ain't been to Venice, you might want to have that on the bucket list.
Oh yeah, that's game changer right there.
That's probably one of the best fisheries in the world. Now, for numbers, they don't have the big fish. I mean, it's river fish, right? Yeah. Now, they probably fight like a smallmouth because, I mean, these things are fighting current all day long, right? And they strong as can be. They all look like a football, But the same thing in Venice, you flip in, you catch a bass, you flip, you catch a flounder, you next flip, and it's all flipping. You better go down there with a flipping stick, nothing smaller than 50-pound braid, and that's it.
Get to work.
So my Snoopy rod's not going to work.
No, it's not. Because, there is times where you might throw in and rip out a freaking Jack Crevalle too, or a shark.
So you mentioned that bucket list. What's one of your bucket list lakes or river?
Well, coming up there, I want to come up there to fish the northern lakes, right? That's a bucket list, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okeechobee. I like to go fish Okeechobee. I've never been there yet, but I plan on going to Okeechobee at least once. Maybe, and St. John's River, I like to hit that one too, Yeah. And I fished Toledo Bend I've fished Toledo Bend several times. Actually, my grandfather used to have a place in Toledo Bend down in Zwolle. So
yeah,
if we'd have played our cards right, we should have that land, but that's another story.
Is there any lake that you don't want to go back to?
Ross Barnett.
yeah. I heard that's pretty brutal up there.
I got nothing good to say about Ross Barnett. I've been there for a couple of BFLs, and I didn't do so well on that one. But man, it was chocolate when I went. It was so dirty.
Oh, yeah.
It was horrible, cold and dirty.
No, that's a bad combination.
Yeah, cold, dirty water. It's a bad combination.
You got anything, Rob?
No, talking about Ross Barnett, Pearl River, Ross Barnett, when it runs out, that's the Pearl River, started Pearl River. And that's where I kind of was born and raised. My granddad, we run trot lines and limb lines. And so I like a Honey Island Swamp area, Walk High Bluff, that's where I kind of born and raised at, run around. But it was good times. But that place stays muddy. Yeah, you're right. And it stays tough. I mean, it just.
One of my probably a place I did like, and I'll go back, was the Red River on Yep. I fished there. I've done well in several tournaments up there. And Lake Ouachita in Monroe, Louisiana, right? We fished up on the Ouachita River up there. man, my first time going up there, I almost won. You know, Bassmaster Series, weekend series up there. My first time going, you know, and dude, I just fell in love with it. That place was beautiful. But I ended up fishing some place called Boggy Creek.
Yep.
Man, and I caught some fish in that area.
Yeah, they got some massive lake. They got some big old fish there in the kind of northwest corner up in that way. So yeah, I ain't got to fish up there too much, but I've heard a lot of stories, a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, I've never been to Fork or Raven.
Really?
So, you know, I'm thinking about trying to head that way soon too. You know, go. I guess it'll be a spring tournament. I guess it's the best time to go over there too. You know, it'd be in the spring.
Yeah, and go a little bit further west. There's OH Ivy, and they've had some giants come out of there last year or so.
Yeah,
some double digits.
I watched that guy. What's his name that does OH Ivy on YouTube a few times. He catches all them big giant fish.
Yeah, there's a couple of them down there.
Oh yeah, yeah. That'd like that'd be a lot of fun right there.
Kyle,
I can't think of his name.
I can't remember his name.
Josh Jones. That was
Josh Jones. Yep, that's right. That's right.
OH Ivy. Josh Jones, the man up there. It's unbelievable the big fish he catches. Yeah. I'm like, it's just astonishing how big they get over there. You know,
it's unreal.
Lake Cotahuachi at one time was growing to be that, right?
Yep.
In 2011, when Kevin Van Dam won the Classic here, we were already on our downward spiral, right? Cotahuachi was up, and we had some dumb people decided, you know what, we're going to go spray the lake, right? Because Cotahuachi at one time it was just boat lanes or whatever in it, you know? And they decided to spray the lake, and when you spray a lake, you know what happens to it, right? Nothing good.
Oh, yeah.
No, we had 10, 12-pound bass caught. Cotahuachi at one time, a 20-pound stringer that meant nothing. Dang. It wasn't nothing. 20-pound, you ain't getting. I fished a couple media tournaments in there where a 20-pound stringer, you wasn't getting a check. That's all. I mean, that was 10, 11-pound fish weighed in. And then they sprayed the lake, and it just went downhill from there. And then, you know, started getting these hurricanes coming through. But, you know, Hurricane Katrina came through. Cotahuachi was fine. Never got hurt. It was fine. But then they sprayed the lake, and that did more damage than anything.
Well, I happened to check Chickamauga right there in Chattanooga. I moved to Tennessee in the late 80s. They just sprayed it, killed all the grass, and then they finally let the grass grow back. And in the late 90s, that's when it really boomed, big fish and boomed. So that's a great example of what you're talking about.
You kill the grass, you kill the bass. And that's just, I that over and over. You know, there's talk about right now Lake Gunnersville. They're talking about spraying it. You know, I'm like, man, y'all don't want to do that. If they do that, we've seen what it does. You know, Cotahuachi was becoming one of the best lakes in the country. You know, for not just numbers but size. You know, a 5-pounder. Me and my buddy went fishing one day. We were just punching. We had 30 fish, 4 pounds or better.
Dang. That's unreal.
No, we had 30 of them. You know, and when we say 4 pounds, we had some 5s, some 6s in that. And, just punching the mats, bro. You would punch the mat with an ounce weight. It'd hit the mat, it would go down. Next thing you know, sometimes you don't even feel them bite. You go to pick up. It's underneath the boat. You're like,
that's a good feeling right there. When you pull up and the rod goes under your boat. So,
that's it. The rod tip under the boat.
I had a crazy fish do that up here on a buzzbait. I threw a buzzbait up against a seawall. You know how the bluegill kind of slurp, buzzbait. What did it? And I said, oh man. And so I couldn't feel nothing. I'm like, that thing bluegill. And it was a 4-pounder. And he got it and went under the boat. And by the time I caught up with it, my rod went right under the boat. And I hollered at my partner, hey, get the net. For a bluegill? This ain't no bluegill. Oh, man.
Right, let's switch topics here. What's your favorite homemade cookie?
Anyone Deborah makes.
Smart answer, good answer. That's the best answer we've ever had right there.
Yep.
My wife can make some good cookies, but I don't know, man. I would have to say the oatmeal. I love her oatmeal raisin cookies.
Okay.
That's a good one.
She makes crack too now.
We can
Sprinkle a little on.
No, that's not
fast crack in
all
there.
guys at work call it crack, right? It's
Hey.
I don't know what it is. It's something with saltine crackers, and she makes it during Christmas time, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
man, let me tell you, everybody I work with, they can't wait for Christmas because they all say, "When you bring in the crack."
Oh man, that's
fast
funny.
crack.
Yep.
We're
My
we're
wife's
a
good cook.
partner show where, yeah, I want to give you a chance to talk about yourself, talk about your sponsors, people who help you along the way. Talk about your YouTube channel too, because you got a brand and you're trying to grow that.
Yeah, we started our channel. It was called Crush It Gel, but it's just Crush It Gel on YouTube. But we're probably gonna change it around a little bit. The channel name. We still new at this stuff, right?
Yeah. Well,
So I'm thinking we're gonna end up changing it to CIG Fishing, something like that. I didn't even start our channel till February, right? That's when we started the channel, and it's a big learning experience, right?
Yeah.
I've never done anything like that. Just learning the damn GoPro cameras is a job and a half.
Oh yeah.
Them damn things can be a pain in the butt sometimes, man. You gotta
They're
monitor-
moody. They're moody.
They're moody, that's for sure.
That is
So that's what that's the thing we've been working on most is our brand. And I would be nice to try. I have been working on trying to get a couple sponsors because I am going to start fishing again, y'all. Tournament fishing. That is my goal when I retire, right?
Absolutely.
I'm still going to have a little left in the tank when I retire, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to try it out again.
Sure.
Right now, it's just with work, it's hard, but I'm going to retire so that I can get back out on the trail and start fishing again. So I think they say the older we get, we start losing knowledge, right? So I hope I don't lose it all.
yeah.
But I'm gonna, we've been working, trying to pick up maybe a rod sponsor, a reel sponsor, something right now. I've been sending stuff out. I mean, I lost my boat sponsor, right? I was with Blazer, and I'm still in a Blazer right now, dude. But I was with the Blazer since 1999, right?
Wow.
I knew the Kraft family well. And I'm still friends with Keith Kraft. And they sold the business. And once when Keith sold the business, when I went through my divorce, Keith told me he knew what I was going through, and he said, "Look, Tad," he said, "whenever you're ready," he said, "we're going to be here for you," right?
Yep.
Well, lo and behold, they end up selling it, right? So new people take over, they bring in their own people, right? So it is what it is. So eventually I'll find somebody else. But as of now, I'm still running a Blaze. I bought a 8. So let me tell you what happened in 22. And I moved here in 21. Yeah, after the COVID, we moved the house we're in now. We went fishing. I had a 2000. I was in my 2011 still, right? I had a Blazer 202, a 250 Pro XS on it. It was loaded out, power poles and all. We were fishing in Lake DeKalb, right?
Yep.
I knew they had a drill, but they had a dredge rig out there, right? Dredging the lake. But I can see where he had his dredge at, right? And they had buoys on it. And I saw it over there. But I didn't see his discharge line. The discharge line ran clean across Lake DeKalb, right? All the way across. And that morning, it was windy. It was really rough. There was white caps. So I could see the buoys going north and south, right? But then it turned and the discharge line went clean across the lake, east and west. And I didn't see the buoy. And really, it wasn't buoys. It was doing sticks with flags on piece of styrofoam. So with the wind blowing, it blew the flags down and no freaking water, right? And I took pictures of all that crap. So we were running, and I was running 36 miles per hour. I wasn't running fast. We were doing 36 miles per hour, and I hit that freaking pipe.
Oh, man.
And the thing with that dredge line, when they're dredging and they're pushing water and mud through it, it sits on the bottom.
Yeah.
But when they stop dredging, it gets air in it and plops float up to the right underneath. It stays right under the surface.
Yep. Just below. Yep.
That's right. Man, I hit it and I ripped the whole motor, transom off the boat, everything.
Oh.
The engine was still hooked to the transom, but I just broke the whole transom, ripped off. And we sank right there. Well, I say we sank. Let me tell you, a Blazer won't sink.
Yep.
It floated. We was able to sit on the deck. I had called 911. The sheriff's department came out, and they came and got us, and I got the boat towed in. And the company that was dredging, they came out there, and they picked the boat up, and they put it on a barge after, right, and got it on a trailer for us. And it was what it was, man. I was like, I had to make an insurance claim on a boat.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
And let me tell you, in 21, you didn't want to have to buy a boat in 21 because
you don't want none.
For different reasons now, though.
Yeah,
but they were stupid. Let me tell you, it was stupid. The most I ever paid for a brand new boat on the Pro Staff with Blazer was $37,000. That was fully loaded, hydraulic jack plate, power poles, all electronic. Now, we didn't have the electronics they had back then. We had like a lower answer lead or something like that, up front and on the front, not the dash, right? But I paid like $37,000 for a boat. 21, I bought an 18. I had to spend $58,000 on a used boat, man, and that was a hard pill to swallow.
Oh yeah, that was crazy times, man. That was crazy times in the boat business.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap, I ain't never paid this much for a boat. And one thing good about it, the prices on boats are coming down. They've come down a lot.
Yeah.
Everybody's hanging. I see some dealerships, they full of 23s right now, and they I'm seeing boats going now like the prices were in 19, I'm seeing prices like that now. So, new boats for $69,000.
Rob sent me a picture of a Icon that he planned on getting next year.
A used for 94. 94K for a used Icon.
Yeah, no.
That's my first house. That was my first house right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, not gonna do it.
That Joe Kukla says prices on boats are outrageous. Yeah,
they still are. They went down, but they're still bad.
$94,000's a heck of a divorce payment.
Yeah, you better be sleeping in it. Can we get ready?
Yeah, you see down here, dude. I need I'm not a speed demon, right? I really ain't. But Rob, we might run 70, 80 miles for a tournament just to get some.
Oh yeah.
So I need a boat that suits my style of fishing. I need a boat that I can run 65, 70 miles per hour, not with my foot in it. So I can serve it on gas. And that's one of the reasons why I fished out of a Blazer for so long, because, I can make those. I used to be able to run from Bayou Black all the way to Cotawachi and back without getting gas. That's 7 miles one way. That's 140 something miles, round trip.
Them Blazers are super lightweight, man. They are a light little boat.
Not anymore. They're not.
Not anymore. They used to be.
625s, they're a fat girl now.
Oh, yeah.
202, she's a skinny girl, but the 625 is a fat girl now. They don't run like they used to,
Oh, yeah.
202, it would run 87, all day long if I needed to.
Yep.
And our buddy Joe says Icon ain't even aluminum.
I run from Bayou Black to Venice before 2.5 hours one way.
Dang.
For a beer. No, that was for a weekend series basketball. It was just, we were in a week. It was just horrible, right?
Yeah.
The fishing was horrible. Like if you was going to stay, you were going to catch 5 pounds, right?
Yeah.
No matter where you went at, it was just, something happened. I think we may have been a drought or something, a little drought we was going through. Things got horrible. So I ran to Venice. And what sucks, I made it there. I caught my fish. And on my way back, I was on time, everything. I had to make it to Lafitte and get gas.
Yeah.
But there was a tragedy. There was his grandfather, and he had his 2 grandkids. He ended up running under the rake of a barge in the main bayou that I had to go through. And they had shut the whole bayou down, right?
Yeah.
The Coast Guard was there. They shut everything down, and I didn't have enough fuel to back up and go around to where, because there was another way around, but I didn't have the fuel to make it. So we had to sit there. I ended up calling the tournament director. I said, hey, look, I told her, I said, there was a tragedy. There was an accident. And she was like, I said, are you involved? I'm like, no, I'm not involved. I said, but
I'm stuck.
The water's closed down. I said, I'm not going to make it in time. So I let my fish go right there.
That's all you could do, man. I mean,
we won it right there. We had it won. I had some bad luck, dude. I was running from Stevensville dry runs one time for a BFL.
Yep.
I was in home all day scouting, right? Man, I was struggling. I spent a couple of days up down in the basin looking around and Lake Verret looking around. I was like, man, I'm struggling. And I was on my way home. I stopped in DeZalman's. I put the boat over in DeZalman's. I ran out to Temple Bay. I made 6 casts. I had over 16 pounds throwing a rope. Holy crap, man. It was like stacked in here. I said, I know where I'm coming.
Yep.
So I just had a brand new lower unit put on the boat, right? So brand new lower unit, brand new prop, everything. I just put brand new Bravo, 29 Bravo XS on it. So I show up the morning for the tournament. I'm like, I'm stoked, right? I'm like, dude, I got this in the bag. This is done, right? We go to take off. They call my boat number. I take off. I'm getting going. I'm just getting the boat trimmed out right, where I'm at. All of a sudden, wham! Freaking I'm like, holy crap. I said, I must have spun the hub, right?
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I got extra hubs. I tilt the motor up. Prop shaft broke.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. So I had to fish. I stayed right there in the bayou in Stevensville, fishing right there at the top, trying to do something, but I knew I had it won if I could have made it.
Oh man, that's aggravating.
That's the things you got to worry about, man, when you make long runs, right?
Yep.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
You can plan and plan and plan all you want, but you can't plan for the unforeseen things that'll happen. Right?
Yes, and it will happen. And it will happen at some point.
Enough tournaments, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mark Unger says he doesn't swim good enough to be in a fiberglass boat.
We were fishing. Let me tell you, we were fishing the media tournament. It was the championship, right? And I haven't made the run from Catawba, well, from Signet to Venice. It was not long after Katrina we was having this, right? So I said, man, I haven't made that run since Katrina. But I said, I'm going to make it. We're going to run to Venice. So we take off. When we run an event, I got my partner with me. And we running, we run through Lake Washington and all. And then we through Empire and Buras, running back canals. I'm about a quarter mile away from hitting the river, right?
Yep.
So I'm looking for a landmark, right? I had a landmark that was a big cypress stump. When I would be running, and I see that cypress stump, I knew I had to make a hard right turn, right? Hard right turn.
Yep.
It was going. So I'm looking for it, and then I passed that turn. And I'm like, holy crap, when I looked in front of me, all it was mud and it was scattered water and mud. But I could see the river, right? I can see the river right past. I'm like, oh, there it is. I said, well, how do we just going to mow through it? So I'm rolling through it, and then I look, and I see a bulkhead. And I'm like, holy crap, you're not going to get over that bulkhead, right? So bulkhead, and then there was a levee. I told my partner, I said, hang on, dude.
Nope.
I said, hang on. Woo, right on the levee. Look, we hit the levee, and it was like in slow motion. When I hit the levee, it was just like the marsh grass, right? So it was all nice and fluffy. I hit the marsh grass. The boat ran up on the marsh grass. And as I'm looking to the side, I saw like 6 or 7 otters take off running, and they were mad. They were like barking at me. So this is my buddy Chris Valentine. This is funny. And the boat stopped. He looks at me. what are we gonna do? He said, this is the kind of stuff people read about in the newspaper. People dying and they don't make it. I'm like, I'm sitting there. I said, shut up, Chris. I gotta think. And I'm sitting there and I hear it coming down the river. Glug, 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 glug. So I run up to the river and here comes a shrimp boat, right? Big 35 skiff. Guy's on the wheel and he's looking and I start hollering, hey, hey. And he does a double take. Look, he does this. I'm like, holy shit, because there's a boat sitting up. I tell the guy, I said, hey, bro, come here. And the dude comes over there and I said, bro, I got $140 cash in my wallet. I said, if you pull his boat off the levee in a red pass, it's yours. That dude looked at me, he backed that big old boat up, he helped on to us. Boom, he pulled us out the river. We didn't even lose 30 minutes.
Wow, dude. Wow.
Got that cranked up. We took off, man. We ran down river.
All right. We're going to, it's been a pleasure having you on, Tad. We'll get you back on again. I just love listening to your stories.
I got plenty of them.
All right. So you take care and we'll definitely get you together. And so how can people get some Crush It gel?
Well, they could go on. We have a website, right? You can look on Crush It Gel. We got a website, crushitgel-bashcroc.com. We have several stores that sell it online. We got Z's Tackle. There's one store they do online that sell all over the country. And there's another one. I can't think of the name of them. My wife will probably chat in here quick. eBay. We have an eBay store also. You can go on eBay.
Cool.
Yeah, and buy it straight off of eBay. Just look up Crush It Gel on eBay. Babe, what's the other store that's got it? I think it's Swampland Tackle in Lafayette.
Okay.
They do also sell online. And yeah, if y'all interested, anybody wants to buy it, give us a shout. Or you can call me or Deborah. Don't matter.
All right.
Let's just look us up. Oh, we got we're on Facebook. Just look us up on Facebook, Crush It Gel on Facebook. You can send us a message. You can send us a message on Messenger. We'll answer them all. Any kind of way, we'll get it. You get to you.
Outstanding.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you
having me on. It was a blast.
It was, man. We'll have you on again, man. We had a lot of fun with you, and I said we'll catch back up with you and see how things going, and we'll definitely be tuning in and checking out your YouTube page for sure.
Well, hey, like I said, April, I'll be up in Northern Alabama. I won't be that far from you, Rob.
No, you'll be right there, man. I'll have to look you up.
And John, you're welcome to come on down.
We'll have to get Eddie involved here too.
There you go.
I'm talking to Eddie about that.
Okay.
The fishing is normally great at that time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's spawn time. That's usually spawn time there in Tennessee. So that should be prime time, man.
Well, if y'all ever want to come down here, just let me know. Y'all can stay here.
Absolutely, man.
Same thing with you up here.
Y'all come here.
Just don't come in January up here.
No, I'm worried about that.
We need an icebreaker.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't freeze.
It does.
Not where he's at. Not where he's at now.
Ted, I have the lake next to me is over 600 feet deep.
How deep?
Over 600.
Holy crap.
They test like subs there and stuff. That's how deep it is.
Long power pole.
Yeah. You need some extensions. Put some extensions on it. Oh,
all right,
man.
Clay, you take care. Tell you and your family good luck. Be safe.
All right, guys. Well, thank y'all for having me on, man. It was a blast.
We enjoyed you, man. We'll talk again, man. We'll catch up with you.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Yeah. All right, see you, buddy. All right.
That's the kind of guy I can sit and talk to all day,
Oh man, yeah, that he's got some stories now. That's and I can see him happening. I know exactly where he's talking about. I'm like, oh man. So I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yep. All right, bud. All right. So tomorrow we got on Casey Gonzalez III. he won a Toyota Series down in Florida this year, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about that. So
looking forward to it. He's a heck of a stick, and hey, Rick, appreciate you, man. Good seeing you, Rick. Rick. I think Rick maybe is tuned into more of these shows than we have. I think somehow. I don't know how, but I think he is.
Yeah, between him, Joe, and Andy.
Yeah, I think so.
So
appreciate you guys.
Anything else?
No, just thanks for everybody. Like I said, look up Crush It Gel. I've got some like a year or two ago, and I've always been impressed. Sticks on your lures good. He's got a little bit of bling bling, a little bit of flake in it. So check him out, man. He's a good people and a great product. So check him out, and sure appreciate y'all tuning in. Give us some likes and shares, and catch you tomorrow night.
All right. Take care, everybody.
See you guys.